Well, hi everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of the Sagittarius cycle of Astro Soup. And so, before we get started, unfortunately, we made Marlene small, so we can't see her earrings. Uh, Andy and I have this thing going on, and the irony of it is that nobody ever gets declared a winner at all. We just compare earrings to see who likes whose most. And hers are all those pretty little feathers.
Yeah, I had to go feathers because I felt like having readings in the show is kind of mystical and shamanic, so I went with feathers.
Ah, well, and maybe I picked an energy shield. I don't know. I don't know. Uh, and so I guess we don't really have a lot to say about our earrings. So we're
Mm.
we're just going to move on. And so I want to talk. How did you find this week's full moon? It was a humdinger. Didn't you find?
So
No?
this full moon was in Sagittarius Gemini, right? It was at 14 degrees, I believe.
13, yeah, yeah. And yeah, but the Mars was out of bounds and so was the moon.
Hmm.
So
And it
it's
was,
funny because I felt a big uptick in energy.
hmm.
At the same time, I don't know how to describe it. It's like I felt like my brain shifted into some other reality, which is probably maybe not that unusual for.
Yeah, there was
So
talking with that moon, with the moon in Gemini, it was like very talkative, and everyone I knew was really chatty.
yeah, if anybody has anything that they like to contribute about the full moon, go ahead.
Well, I would. And considering that full moon was in Gemini, doesn't that rule short trips?
And vehicles.
Yeah, and my short trip got kiboshed because my vehicle decided that it's not going to start. And vehicles nowadays, sometimes the battery, where it is, it's an entire mystery. Like you need to do a lot of research and get a lot of tools to figure out exactly where that sucker is located. So I couldn't even get near it, right, to test it. And yeah, so my plans got kind of kiboshed. So I had a little fit.
Yes, I
Really.
talked to her when she was having it. So I was going to say your trip was so short you didn't even get to the end of the driveway.
Exactly. So yeah, that was my full moon.
Anybody
And
else?
well, I just got to say though that I'm a big believer in signs, right? And I think that our vehicle is connected to our journey, the road that we're taking. And I very much like my vehicle, just will decide, I'll start whenever I want to, rather when you need to. So point taken. Thanks, universe. Move on. Let's get going.
Well, and then I don't know, I found things that were supposed to happen just suddenly dropped off the grid and space opened up, which was lovely because apparently I really needed it. Well, no, because I was hosting my family for the Christmas tree trimming, which turned into this was very much full moon in Gemini. Get a bunch of teenagers together, especially the older two. They were 17, and even the two 14-year-olds. It's like no one's 15, I was 14. Do we really have to decorate this tree? I just want to put a couple of decorations. So my son Luke, who usually is the boss of how many decorations get put on the tree last year, he told them that they each had to put 20 on. So at any rate, so this year he dropped the number to 15, and I said, why? He said, because they were being very reluctant to do anything. I said, point taken. Anyway, so yeah, it was an interesting full moon. Energy was pretty intense. And so we're going to carry some of that energy forward. But we're going to talk about that shortly. So I just want to give you a little bit of a teaser about what's coming up in this episode and what will be coming up in episode 4 of Sagittarius, which will drop next Saturday, probably. So what we're going to be talking about today is what's in the bowl, like we always do. And I write all these notes and then I don't remember what I wrote down. Um, we'll do a color card for the week like we always do. And then Marlene and I are going to have a brief chat. She's going to tell us a little bit about her background, although many of you probably already know what her background is. And then we're going to do some readings. So for any of the people who arrived a little bit later and I didn't give you a sense of how this is going to function, if you have a question, please put it in the chat window, and that way we will know that you're interested in having Marlene pull 3 cards for you. So, okay, so what is in the bowl this week? Well,
Oh, I got my little. Oh. Sorry.
you can always, Andy's in charge of bringing the soup.
I got the props. I got the soup.
Yeah, but I don't notice there's any liquid in it. And I notice that you haven't got brave enough to actually put water in there or
But there's
anything.
there's a potato in it, which is representing Saturn. And
Where did you get did you get some new ones I haven't seen?
I don't know, but this I don't even know what it is, but it represents Mars. So there you go. There's the bowl.
Oh, there's a yellow one in there to represent the sun. Well, that's the potato. Whatever. I'm sorry, we're getting into the weeds and we really should move on because there's only so much you can say about props. So anyway, so what's in the bowl this week? Well, just a couple of things, but a couple of very important things. First of all, Neptune stations to go direct. So, and what does that mean? How do we describe that astrologically? Well, obviously, if you're looking at how the solar system works, planets do not go backwards. Their orbit is around the sun. They appear to be going backwards in reference to the Earth. And interestingly enough, when any planet is in that phase, a more internal phase, it's the closest it gets to Earth. Of course, in some cases, how close Neptune gets to the Earth is like debatable. Anyway, so this is an opportunity because Neptune has been finishing, finishing its happy little trip through the sign of Pisces, which is the sign that is most closely connected to. And so what does that mean? Well, when it's the end of a cycle. So, and earlier this year, it gave us a little bit of a taste of what it's going to be like when it moves into Aries, but right now it's back in Pisces. And so there may be something that really needs tidying up. And whenever a planet is in very late degrees, it's always that it really is a cleanup. There's something that needs to be finished before you can move on. It's like having one foot on the brake and the other foot on the gas pedal at the same time. And when it comes to Neptune, pay close attention to your dreams right now, especially because it moves to go direct on the 10th, which is Wednesday. So, and sorry about my camera moving around. That's very Neptunian. Anyway. So pay close attention to your dreams around this time. And the other thing is you get an opportunity to clarify any kind of dream that you have had. And of course, it's always a bit of a challenge to differentiate between dreams and illusions. So, and sometimes a dream will feel like an illusion to begin with because it seems so utterly impossible. So just be ready to kind of go with the flow as Neptune stations, and things might feel foggy for a day or so. It would not be a good day to initiate anything new of consequence. And you might find, for instance, that I'm going to make this for supper, and I'm pretty sure I've got this in the fridge, only to come home and discover that you used it last week. That's a perfect kind of Neptunian. I'm pretty sure I've got that, but it's not there. And then following that, Mercury moves into Sagittarius. And it's almost to the degree that it was at when it went retrograde, or as my friend Donna Van Tone, who is no longer on the planet, used to say, and thanks, Wendy, Guy, for reminding me of this. Donna used to call it Mercury retrograde. So often, Mercury doesn't get back to it, and it quotes its old self until it comes back to the degree that it was at when it went retrograde. So we're coming to the close of any leftover crap from the Mercury retrograde period. And as it moves into Sagittarius, our minds are going to expand again. We have an opportunity to take any of the things that came to us during that Scorpio retrograde period, things that were niggling at you or trying to surface and get your attention. You'll be able to act on them and actually take. I did write something down about that. Oh, yes, I wanted to also say one of the things about Neptune is wishful thinking. So again, it's time to clarify between those two energies. Mercury going into Sagittarius is actually going to assist you in clarifying what is clear and what is not, because Sag is a fire sign. In fact, okay, I don't know. I'm forever always doing this kind of stuff to myself. Oh, if only I could remember where I put things. Okay, so the period that we're in right now is Sagittarius, ruled by the happy planet Jupiter. A lot of fire energy. So there's that optimism, enthusiasm, there's a real uplift during this Sagittarius period for most people. And so then along comes Mercury, who is now going to move into Sagittarius, fire and air. So again, your thinking will take off and start moving in different directions, and you'll feel a lot more optimistic about things. On a thinking level, you'll feel less bogged down and less stuck in whatever swamp you think you might have been stuck in. And that coupled with the Neptune energy, the trident, I could have drawn a slightly better one, but apparently I didn't. So that gives you kind of a sense of the kinds of energies that we're working with: water and fire and air. So there's not really a lot of earth energy going on right now. In fact, other than Uranus and Taurus, which is not really earth energy, because Uranus and Taurus is going. So how can I cause an earthquake? How can I shake things up and move things around? And so next year, and I'm probably in January going to be, rather than doing good Lord, my brain would work, it would be good. Rather than doing a number of episodes on Capricorn on January the 5th, I'm going to do a live episode looking at the year ahead. Because this year our travels through Capricorn are rather quiet. So that does give me the opportunity to do this. You might want to stay tuned for that. So that pretty much sums up what's in the bowl. Andy, any comments or questions?
Well, I have a question for you, which is, what do you think of Uranus? I guess Uranus doesn't quite eke into Gemini in this Sag cycle, but it's at the late end of Taurus, right? So it's almost in Gemini. So would you consider that to be kind of an airy energy as well?
Well, yes and no. Well, Uranus is meant to stir up the crap wherever it goes. It doesn't really care. Even one might claim that it's more comfortable in an air sign. It just still is, I always call it the stick of dynamite in the dam of your life. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about that in episode 4, because when we get to the new moon, Uranus is strongly impacted during that new moon cycle. And so I think we might better address that. Currently, in terms of what's going on this particular week, well, Neptune and Uranus are friends at this point. They're friends. And so actually, I'm glad you asked that question, because be aware of any aha moments that you have right now. And I'm going to just do one more little thing and check so that Oh, that's fascinating. So, the moon will be in Virgo during that time. So the energy of the next week or so can feel a lot of like stop start, lots of stuff going on in your head, a lot of energy, but trying to figure out where to focus it might be a bit of a challenge. So it's more important that if you really need to do something, go do something that you is really fun and you enjoy doing it so you can express that energy as opposed to trying to get it to focus on a particular outcome. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Well,
thank you.
welcome. Okay, so now Marlene is I'm going to unpin, how do, oh, and we're going to pin Marlene. Oh, hi, Marlene.
Hi, Leslie.
So before we put you to work, and if anybody else has joined us, just so you know, if you're interested in participating in the 3-card reading, please put a question in the chat box. I'm being so organized, I can't stand it. Let's see what we can do to wreck them. No. So Marlene and I met 30 years ago.
Gee.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're Aquarians, time doesn't matter to us. As we have a habit of discovering, oops, I forgot how much time this takes. Anyway, and I went to Marlene for a reading, and that was how we met. And our paths have continued to cross again and again over the course of the years. And then I hadn't spoken to her in a while, but we're Aquarians, and once a friend for life. You have to do something pretty terrible for us to rescind the friendship card we gave you. So, do you want to talk a little bit about how you got into tarot and what it means to you?
Sure. But first of all, I want to say, Leslie, I was so delighted when you called me because one thing I've got to say for this industry, nobody retires. You just get a little bit more interesting as the years go on. And I can definitely say that is the case for you. So I am so happy to be here tonight. So tarot. I got my first deck of cards when I was 11 years old, but they weren't tarot. They were a gypsy deck. So very similar to the Lenormand with a few other things thrown in. I was really, I don't know, I just took a knack to them. I loved them. But anyone who's ever read Lenormand, there's not really they're just very predictory, and they're also not kind. They're not very kind. So I did great readings and they were very accurate, but oftentimes like they just didn't really, the negative came out, you'd really have to use like a lot of your psychic stuff to be able to deliver, a positive slant with it because I think it's important to be able to look at shit in a positive way so that we can use it, for fertilizer, right? Or to be able to transform things, right? So I found tarot when I was about 18, 19 years old, and I started doing readings for the public probably in my early to mid 20s. I love it. I like tarot because I just like the organization of it. You got four suits, right? Just like, you got your four elements. They made sense to me. You can look at a card and yeah, sure, that's not necessarily the best thing, but it was always very easy for me to be able to see the the positive slant to what we're learning here, right? Like, so for instance, like the swords, the suit of swords. Nobody loves it. When I teach tarot, we do the swords last. We just save it for the last because if
Saturn
we
and
started it,
astrology.
right? But when you take a look even at the word swords, it's an S in front of words. What are swords? They're words. They're the words we tell ourselves, right? It's an air sign. It's the stuff that comes out of your mouth, right? It's the way that we hear what is said, right? It's our ideas. And, if you think about what it takes to make a sword, right? Heat and a lot of pounding, right? What does it take to change our minds? Right? Unless you're all mutable and you're just going to go with everything, right? Like swords are the things, in the tarot that come to, teach us maybe a little bit about, maybe the problem wouldn't be such a problem if we didn't make it such a big deal. Maybe, when they said this, it didn't mean what you heard, right? But because we heard something so many times, um, we don't always take things at face value, right? So, yeah, so I love tarot because out of all the divinatory things for me, it was a way to capture information really quickly and to be able to see it in a bigger picture. That being said, if you were going to learn any divinatory anything, if you learn astrology first, you can learn everything else a lot easier.
Oh, I don't know about that. Well, no.
I think
Uh,
so.
well, n I'm just being because I've
I think
studied
so.
most of the other divinatory arts I have, and of course, astrology is the one that speaks to me. I love the major arcana, but it's funny because when I tried to learn it, whenever it came to the minor arcana, I just could not. I mean, I remember, I know what each suit represents,
Right.
but could I? It just would not stick in my mind. And this is a perfect opportunity for both Marlene and I to reiterate, whatever divinatory art speaks to you is the one that you should play with because it's the one that's most connected to your essence, your soul, however you want to put that. So it's not a case of because really it's whatever which one is going to work for you that's going to bring out the best in you, which is the most important part because Marlene and I couldn't do what we do. Well, at least this would, I think we share this thought and belief in common that we're meant to be of service to people and to support people. And you cannot do that if you're practicing something that doesn't even actually talk to you. Essentially, that's the way that it works. So, is there anything? I mean, you can see in Marlene's background, those are paintings that she painted. She's also a gifted artist. And like so many people who get into doing any kind of energy work, because I think that astrology's energy work, I think tarot's energy, I think there's lots of different kinds of energy work. We all tend to have other facets of creativity. And my producer, Andy, is the same. She's got a list of things she does it as long as my arm. I can't keep up. Anyway.
Sorry.
So, why are you apologizing? Anyway, so is there anything else you'd like to say? This is the best part is having people on that I vibe with, and laughter is the best medicine. And Andy is actually responsible for telling me that to sort of put my Saturn off to the side and bring in my Jupiter and
Well, I have
be
to tell you that Gwen is saying in the chat that both of you are amazing women who have helped her a lot through her life. So just wanted to say that.
thanks for sharing. And thanks, Gwen, so much for saying that. Gwen is my massage therapist.
Gwen was my massage therapist too back in the day. God, I don't even know how many years ago that was. It's got to be close to 16, I'm thinking, and a long time. But Gwen, you've also done some really amazing things with your life and with your experience up to this far. So having clients that are dedicated to growth, which my career has been full of people that just want to grow and experience. And to me, it's like reading good books. Like that's what I love about what we do. It's like, oh my God, what are you doing now? And it's inspiring.
Well, and Nikki says that she had a reading with you over 20 years ago on White Avenue.
Several spots on White Avenue.
Yes,
Um,
you like to move around a lot, Marlene.
yeah, it's because I all
You and
that
your Pisces
Sagittarius.
ascendant. If it doesn't feel right anymore, I'm gone.
Yeah, that's about it.
Plus your moon and
So,
cap. Anyways, we're not here to dissect Marlene's chart. So
so anyway, just to like all else I have to say about my tarot career is that like for 30, 35 years, it's been every week, like full roster of clients. And after 2020, and I decided to go home because it was just less complicated, right? With all the restrictions with working. Um, I kept kind of getting this call to like pull back. And I've never had that in my entire life. Just pull back from work. And so I probably took, I don't know, because I moved to Thorsby. I live in a small town now, so I don't look at calendars. I don't even ever know what day it is, right? But I think I probably pulled back for about a year and a half. And Spirit was really just giving me this message to slow down, which I didn't really listen to. So I stopped doing readings and I just started getting busy at something else. And then I broke a bunch of toes on one foot in a freak e-bike accident. And then
Your
I was
toes.
forced
Oh,
to do everything slowly. And so that's what I've been doing for the last year and a half is living slowly and
just
not easy.
well,
But you see things when you slow down. Like I walk the same walk with my dog that I've been doing for a year, 2 years. But it's different when you walk that slow. I saw things I never saw before, right? Because I'm in nature. And I thought, I think that's, again, art imitating life or life imitating art, however that works, right? So I tend to get my message from spirit, which was just to slow down. So there I was, all slowed down. And then Leslie gave me a call.
up the volume again. Anyway.
But yeah, so yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Like, 35 years of a career, a couple years of slowing down and opening up again to I don't know, like whatever is showing itself.
Coming because
Yeah.
Uranus is going to move into Gemini and then your life will take off again. So we don't have all the time in the world. And so um, are you monitoring the chat?
I can. There are several questions in here. Do you want to just take it first come, first serve kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Then the first one would be Nikki asked first. Or no, wait, actually it was Maeve asked first. Is Maeve still here? Okay, Maeve. Said a message about my business, please. Is the direction I'm looking at taking a good one?
Okay, so what this says here with the Four of Swords, it's not an action time. Four of Swords is the opposite of action. Four of Swords is the kind of card that comes up when life has been a bit of a battle. We've had a lot of things going on, right? Here's a soldier coming back from war. He survived, but now he's got to rest and heal, right? So it's about celebrating where we've come so far, but stopping, right? If you notice on this card, we see one sword in the foreground, right? But the rest are kind of faded in the back. So what that basically says is the direction you're going is correct, but you may be trying to make a lot of things happen before it's time, right? So this is a time to feed the vision, to not allow yourself, because swords are the words we tell ourselves, right? So don't start questioning anything. Don't go back and question. Just keep an open mind. And this is really about the setting the intention and making sure that your beliefs around abundance, around work, around your worth, all of those things are all in line because we're making a very strong mental foundation here. So, what we've got coming up in the middle, what this shows is, well, with the Seven of Wands, you're going to be doing a lot of things yourself, right? So it's, kind of like Leslie right now. Okay, manage the chat, manage the time, do the posts, do the this. This here is when we're in the process of dealing with all of our challenges. It kind of talks about a lot of things sort of happening at once. So what this is saying is like, this tells me success, but it also says it's going to be very important that you bring all of your energy into alignment and make sure that, if the business direction, We want to make sure that this isn't taking up so much energy that we can't focus on the big picture. So what we have here, this would tell me, the Two of Wands is Mars and Aries. And so when I'm looking at that, I'm feeling like by springtime, there may be an opportunity to collaborate or an opportunity to, um, it's kind of like, this is kind of like when you're prepared to do things your way, but someone else might come along and say, oh, here's the faster way, right? Or here's a cheaper way, or we don't have to do as much work. We don't want to be doing all the work ourselves. So what with this here, we got to make sure that your beliefs about yourself, about your worth, about how money is made, like all those are aligned with what you want, not with what you've always held, not with what is ancestral to us, right? So the question was, is the direction you're taking a good one? I would say yes, but don't try to push it, force it. You got to allow the timing to um, like just make room for timing, right? The most important thing is going to be your mental state.
Awesome.
So
Thank
yeah.
All right, wonderful. Um, do you want to have Maeve respond to that, Leslie, or do you just want to go forward? No, okay. All right. Merlin has a question. Come here, Merlin. Um, Merlin has showed up to ask a question. Just kidding. Okay, Nikki has a question, which is, hi ladies, thank you. What do you see next for my career or work? Be right back.
Okay, so the first one that shows up here is the 10 of rods, right? When that comes up, it usually would indicate that we're carrying the brunt of the load. Like on a physical level, this puts us in a position where we're so busy that we don't really even have time to think about how could this be easier? How could I make more solutions? Because we're just so dragged down. We could call this struggling under the weight of our own ambition. So here, the Knight of Pentacles, I always look at Pentacles like winter. They're a very slow moving suit. So with the Knight of Pentacles, what is pictured here is he's the only knight, can I say, in the tarot deck that whose horse isn't moving. All the rest of the horses are going here, going there. This one's standing still. So what's he doing? He's looking over his unplowed fields. He is looking at what he has, and he's trying to make a decision as to what can I plant that's going to bring me the most abundance back, or what's going to grow well in this soil. So with this question here, what it tells me is that you might not be in the headspace of being able to see a big picture. Not with this here. This says you need to get maybe away, even if it's for a weekend, whatever you got to do to get away from thinking about all the obligations. Because with this, we can't see all the options because it's like our bowl is so full we can't fit anything more into it, right? So when we're looking at this one here, this is very different than this. With this, we are making a plan, right? So when I look at this, it tells me that you may be stepping away from something that is very like heavy, or like this is the person in the organization that is carrying the load for too many people. Like if they have a sick day, everything starts to fall apart, right? So with this, it's saying that you should take some time over the winter to do some thinking. And then when this comes up, we have to get prepared. You very likely don't see yourself as you are. Um, what I mean by that is that um, it's like not having the confidence that you require in order to be able to see what you are able to get, right? So with this here, this is going to tell tell you you're doing too much. So in order to be able to see the right thing, you got to clear your plate, you got to clear your head, you've got to stop taking on shit. Like this is the people that say yes, or they say, you know what, I'm going to do it because it'll get done right. Now, people like this are valuable to the organization because they take their responsibilities seriously. But with this is like when we are running ourselves ragged. Both of these are, right? Both of these represent doing too much because we get very excited and we say, yes, 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 right? And then we're the only ones at the end of the day holding the bag. So my advice would be is to kind of take some time over the winter, look at when you're feeling rushed and stressed and ask yourself, why am I doing this? Because we'll have different answers all the time, right? When I was doing a job, like a job, and it was hard and I didn't want to go to work, but I went anyway, I would ask myself, why am I doing this? And it was because I'm learning something. But when the answer became because I didn't want to let some other person down, that was when I knew it was time to go.
Okay, can we move on? Sorry,
Yes.
I don't want anybody to be disappointed, so.
Okay, we have Lily next, who says, "How is my beauty tech project, um, creating an anti-aging skin cream paired with a meditation wellness app, likely to evolve over the coming months? And what key milestones or timing should I be aware of?" So we got a beauty tech project with paired with a meditation app.
Okay, I'm gonna pull one more card because whenever I find it ends with the Page of Cups, it's a little bit open-ended. Okay, so what this talks about here, this is connected to your financing. The ability to bring in a lot of resources to be able to move things forward. The Hanged Man shows like a little bit of I would see the Hanged Man as like a little bit of red tape. It's the things that need to move forward that we can't really move forward on our own. We have to wait for these things. And these could be things like, oh, what could I say? Like legalities, aspects where we don't have control always over kind of like the elements. And this could be, so when I'm looking at this, this is not cards that represent being able to rush through something. But this does indicate to me that there's going to be, I want to say some kind of big opportunity that's going to be coming up. I would say maybe April or May, in order to move this through. But I don't know, like there's some pieces missing, and I don't think you have those pieces. I think those pieces may be coming from elsewhere. Pay a lot of attention to your intuitions over the next little while. Even know things that come through in dreams, because we see with this Hanged Man, it's ruled by Neptune, right? So we have to wait for the fog to clear sometimes to see things clearly. I feel like there may be an opportunity for an investor, but you don't see them as a possibility. Like someone may be stepping up to help in a financial way that you would be the last person you might expect to do it. So this here could be a launch. When I look at this, it makes me feel like everything's packaged so beautifully, right? So I think you're going to be putting your nose to the grindstone over the winter, right? For some kind of a launch coming up in spring. So these here, not feeling a lot of control. But don't worry about it. Trust that process.
All right, thank you. I want to thank Gwen for her animals in the screen. That was really fun as well. Okay, 15873 asks, "I'm wondering about a new job or career as something part-time."
Hmm. So the Knight of Cups is a great card for dreaming, right? So what this talks about is it's like dreaming the dream. dream, right? But then he's facing off with the Emperor, which is kind of like the cold hard facts, right? So with the Emperor, he's a businessman, right? So what this says here is that we've got to mix this dreaming with the realistic aspects of the Emperor, which is if you're starting, for instance, like a part-time job or starting your own business, the Emperor would be make a business plan. It would be making, if we're going to create something, it would be um, looking at the ingredients that we need, how available, like, so this here is like putting the plan together. Now, what we have over here, so these two things have to talk together. Here's the Knight of Cups going, this is my dream. And here's the Emperor saying, well, that's not enough information, or we got to go do it. We got to go do the red tape stuff. But here we have an opportunity that shows up. The Two of Cups is two people that come together that say, here, let me help you. So we have to balance these two aspects, right? The organization creating a strong foundation, but making that not like put the damper on our dreams. This would tell me that for some reason with the Emperor in there, I'm not feeling like this is necessarily going to transpire super quickly. However, um, other people will hold the answer to you. Yeah, I've heard hell is other people. In your case, heaven may be other people, because when with this, we have someone opening up an opportunity to you. Queen of Pentacles is a businesswoman, right? So these two can really help each other, right? So that maybe you can just do the more the more fun, creative stuff and have someone else handle the pieces here. Um, yeah, I don't know if that answered it. I kind of got into it and wasn't actually sure if that answered the question.
Do we have time for a few more, Leslie?
Yeah, we have two questions under Gam Ron daughter, and I don't know whether that's two separate people or the same person. So could I get some clarification, please?
Gamron daughter, which question do you want us to ask?
My life is changing. I'm looking here.
A lot here.
Okay, Gamron's daughter. My life is changing a lot here. What don't I see coming? Okay.
Yeah, there was another question, so that was why I was underneath. But to carry on with that one.
That looks really happy. You don't even need to read
I
tarot.
was going to say, wow,
Look at
I'll
that.
take
Go,
that.
woo! Okay, so what this shows here is that things are about to go through a really positive change. What the sun does, it adds warmth, it makes us feel excited, it makes us feel hopeful, it brings brightness into our life. We're putting down well, you're about to find some structure. This is like moving on up. This is the kind of card that we see when we leave a situation that's difficult, to never have to experience that again. We'll look back and go, oh God, remember back when it was so hard? So here shows the Page of Cups. And what that tells me is that whatever it is that you're entering into, the Page of Cups brings a real sense of pleasure into everything that we do. Okay, so the sun can sometimes indicate a bit of a timing thing. So if this doesn't start immediately, right, don't lose heart, right? Because this shows here the probably I'd be guessing springtime or summertime. If you were to compare next summer against last summer, it's going to be a world of difference.
Okay, well, I would be inclined, Leslie, to go on to Jenna's question since Jenna hasn't had a question answered. All right, Jenna says, what's my overarching theme of the upcoming year?
Okay, great question, Jenna. Okay, well, this actually shows like a lot of work, and it's going to come from a lot of work that you've already done. Okay, so all the people that you've connected with, all of the different things that you've done over the course of the last little while. They show that there's something new that you're going to be opening up to, right? So it's probably already along the same line of what it is that you're doing. They indicate that, so I see travel. You're going to be traveling with work. You could be doing work out of multiple locations. Um, and it makes me feel there's a branch off. When I look at this, it makes me feel like self-employment, and sometimes this can indicate we got a self-employment thing and a regular job thing, and we're balancing the two of that. But if you're not working for somebody else, Jenna, then the likelihood is that there's going to be a split off of something that you're already doing into something new that brings in something more. You're going to be asked to um, I think travel. I see travel with this, right? Whether it's something that you're intending or not, and it may be because you are invited. If you aren't self-employed with this Queen of Pentacles, you definitely should be, right? So this puts you in a position of being able to gather everything that you have acquired. And there's like a new, I don't know, maybe it's the same old work, but a new angle to it. But it brings in a lot of excitement and a lot of movement. So yeah, I can see definitely some mobile type work. You're going to be guesting places or something. The special guest or the expert they're bringing in.
Okay.
I think that's it. Unless you want to do the other question from Gamron's daughter.
Yeah, because it
Yeah,
says there are two people. So,
they're probably
so
in just in the same room. Yeah.
yeah. So the second question was, what happens when I retire this summer?
Cards are jumping out all over the place here.
Apparently, a lot's going to happen.
Okay, so this is kind of interesting. Because this card first, the Six of Swords came out. And with this card here, um, sometimes we don't just retire and just jump into something else. Like this is a card that's connected to like a little bit of like recuperation, to not be in charge, to learn how to do nothing, to learn how to rely on others, to calm down your nervous system, right? So then we show here King of Cups, the Star, Knight of Rods. Now, this would tell me that, like, now that we retire, we're interested in having more emotionally fulfilling experiences, right? So when I look at this, there's a likelihood that you could be buying property that is somewhere warmer, not, I don't know, between the cups and the rods. I don't know if we're looking at like, are we looking at Florida, like Mexico, or are we looking at the desert, right? Like somewhere more like, um, Arizona, right? But when we're looking at this here, like the King of Cups with the Knight of Rods, with the star in between, that's kind of like living a life that we find inspiring, going and seeing things we have not seen before. And what I love about the tarot, the naked cards, when we have cards with naked figures on it, we're not playing any roles, right? We're just ourselves. So here we got the King of Cups, what I always want to do. Here we've got the Star, which is like, who am I really? What does really interest me? So the Star is like the best hobby card you can get, right? Because this is supposed to be Venus up here, right? And so what this represents is like, I'm inspired. I'm going to do something. And my doing that inspires other people. Right? So, but this would say to me, give yourself some time. You might be lost a little bit for the first little bit of being retired and being so used to doing things in a certain way, right? That it may. So with the King of Cups, you might change your mind a lot, right? He's the king that, all the cups in the tarot are changeable, right? Because that's water. The water outside is different in July as it is right now, right? It's very uh, affected by its environment, right? So when I look here with retirement, I don't see you really wanting to stay put. This and this both tell me, no, no, it's now it's time to experience the life that I've always wanted to live.
Okay, and we have one more question, and this one's from Gwen.
Great.
Oh. And you got to thank you from Gamron daughter. So, Gwen wants to know, how is December 11th, 2025 going to go for me?
Okay, well, this looks pretty good. We got two really positive cards, and if what we're doing on December 11th has anything to do with family or anything to do with working with others or taking things to another level, right? This looks really good. So this is kind of indicates success. Now we do have the Two of Pentacles there. The Two of Pentacles is kind of a card of having to juggle things, right? Sometimes juggling things financially, sometimes juggling things, well, in the material way. It would be like, I don't have enough money or I don't have enough time, right? So altogether, like this looks like a positive result, but that positive result might mean more work or maybe a little bit more expense for you.
Responsibility?
Well, the Two of Pentacles, the one thing about it, it's a temporary card. It's like a temporary card of I don't have enough time or I don't have enough resources, sort of so it can represent kind of like a tight spot. It's not an emotional spot though. Like we're not emotionally strung out. We're tired. We're tired because we got a lot going on, right? So this is the kind of thing that where we have to catch up with our lips. Yeah, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. This is when we show up, right? And have to actually do the work, right? So this is very successful. What it leads to is a very temporary. So if I was going to buy a house and renovate it and when want to sell it by a certain amount of time, that would be the perfect card to come up. Okay, we got a big job ahead of us. We got to go. We got to go, right? So there's success that leads to very intense period, a burning candle at both ends.
No comments, Gwen? No.
Excellent.
No comments. I'll let you know after the 11th.
Okay.
I look forward to that. Okay, well, we're just gonna skate in under the proverbial wire here. And so, because I meant to do the color card before and then I done forgot, but while Marlene was, thank you so much, Marlene. That
You're
was
welcome.
great. I love to watch you work. Pardon me if I tried to throw in my 2 cents worth, even if it was only once.
Oh, please do.
So I forgot to do the color card for the week, but I did it anyways as we close. So this week it's tangerine, and that is be spontaneous and have fun. We all
That
need
is
a
so
little bit of fun.
That is so Sagittarian.
It is. And especially, it's a good time to be spontaneous and have fun. Kind of the Neptune and the Mercury will help with that. So, and of course, I always close with what I call wrap it up, which is just a quote that I go hunting for. And depending on how much time I have, I don't hunt for very long. But this seems to really suit today. I didn't know how much it was going to suit today because it really connects to all the things that Marlene shared with the people who ask questions. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that's Wayne Dyer, whom I had the distinct pleasure not only of meeting many, many moons ago, but also getting a hug from. So just dropping a name every once in a while. So, and I'm not sure. I think that's pretty much it. My brain keeps on wanting to say more, but it's not going to. So anyway, thank you everyone for joining me for this Sag3 episode of the Astro Soup Cycle. And until next time, be true to yourself.
Thanks, Leslie.